These are my thoughts. This is me just giving an update on my recent interaction and ambush from E.ON. Happened, didn't it? It happened. So, I'm going to take my time here, but not spend too much time talking about what happens now. And to be honest with you, I don't really know. But a lot of time in life we can't find certainty. We could be ambushed at any moment. But let's speak about what actually happened. So, a little summary, because I don't even want to go into it. There's an attempt to join a living man, a living woman into a contract. That's what's happening. Contract could just be an agreement. Not to get too fixated on language, although it is important in certain places. I'm just going to speak freely here, plain English. So to come to an agreement. If there's no agreement, then what is that? If there's a reality where someone is going to say, you owe me money. You owe me money for something I don't need to prove to you. I don't need your agreement to this. You owe me money. I don't care about what you say. Every single time that you try to respond to me, I'm going to make you feel bad and make you feel like you're doing something wrong because you owe me money. And if we don't get that payment, we'll go through a process and a procedure that's designed to bully you, intimidate you, scare you, destroy your life, and eventually steal that money from you. That's the reality of it, right? So in this case, that's what's happening. People show up, and they tried, and it didn't work for them. And it didn't work for them because I was standing there as a human being, was living, without an ounce of fear in me, saying, you want to come in? You have an agreement? I'm not going to get caught into an argument with you. But if you have an agreement, you have any proof about what you're saying, you can show me, and I'll let you in. That didn't happen. There's a very revealing, telling thing, and what I'm doing is very specific. And a lot of people may not understand it yet. And you may just look on the surface and be like, oh, you're getting yourself in trouble. You're getting yourself into a position where you're actually going to lose. I don't know what that means. Because there's no win or loss here necessarily. This is just a process that's unfolding. And certain times there's advantages to it and there's disadvantages to it. But in the grand scheme of things, you have to have foresight here. You have to be connected to your heart and soul to be able to use your mind correctly and understand. Down the road, this doesn't go away. This is in history what's going on. And because of that factor, I don't have any fear. I'm not concerned. I'm kind of being liberated, in fact, by the more that, and let's talk about E.ON specifically, the more that E.ON attempt to fuck with me in my life, the more it's actually going to set me free. Because I am free. Because imagination is always worse than the reality. So when the experience actually happens and people ambush me and they bang on my door and they do everything they can in the most low level pond scum of human existence, go through with an act that is not only illegal on their grounds, and for the record, I do not consent to any legislation, and I don't give a shit about the legal system, because the legal system in its very design is fraudulent and destroys human rights. If it wants to be there as a corporate realm, which is what it is, for corporations to interact through commerce, through business and exchanges, then do that. But above man-made laws, there's universal laws. There's creator laws. We were created. Man and women was created. So the creator law What is that? It's much bigger than what's written down on paper. And we know what that is because it's in our senses. So that's what I'm also here to do, is bring back common sense. So it doesn't matter what anyone wants to say about paperwork or this and we have that. There's a human disease and sickness that operates in a way of what we call ignorance. There's information available. There's a knowing inside ourselves. And then there's actions and behavior that choose to ignore that information and that feeling. Ignorance. So the operation of ignorance is what enables these human beings to turn up and do what they did. I don't need to say much about it because the video speaks for itself. I can't also nearly scratch the surface and justify what truly happens. What truly happens is in the actionable language. What is happening? Well, we are here living our home. We're going through what we're going through in life. It is important to understand, not for sympathy, for just what's going on as a human being, that we've just lost our baby daughter. E.ON showed up a day before our daughter's funeral. Now, it's alright if you want to say, that's irrelevant. You need to pay your bills. You need to do this. Everyone has to. We don't need an agreement. It's alright if you want to say that. You're entitled to your opinion. But when your actions are there to try and enforce that, you have to understand what that is. That's tyranny. That's also a sickness and disease for anyone that operates through that. It's also unlawful. Unlawful by breaking the law of what the law is on this land. And not to get too caught up into that realm. This is supposed to be super simple. But we're on land. And we're living. We're not corporate. Those rules that they're talking about apply to corporations and we're not. So, cause no harm, loss and injury is basically an outline of what the principles and morals are on this land. Cause no harm, cause no loss, cause no injury. Be honourable in any agreement or contract you have. So, hey, you send me £20 and I'll send you a bottle of chaga oil. I'll send you a bottle of medicinal oil. If I do not send that to you after you sent me £20, and then I'm swindling you in some way, I'm screwing you, because we should have an agreement, we have an understanding, there's been an exchange, but I haven't provided something back. That's unlawful and criminal. You're at a loss, you're financially injured, and that can cause psychological harm, it can cause physical harm maybe. But the principles are simple. If there is no agreement, if there is no contract, then there's no obligation. If there's no exchange, then there's no reason to pay. So, back to the question. This isn't just about E.ON, this is much, much bigger, but we'll stick with the energy industry. What are they providing? Because my experience so far has been pretty terrible, right? There's nothing being provided by E.ON in this case. What are they providing? And if they're providing something, show me the proof to your claim of what you are providing, of what you're claiming to provide. You can't also show proof of ownership that you own the meter, so you don't own it. Where do we go then? What are you doing? We know what's happening. We know we're being screwed. We know we're being fucked over. And we know that people that do the jobs find it funny and think that they can get away with that, because they can to an extent. It's happening. I'm not a guy that's going to deny truth and reality. It is actually happening. But for how long? There's already enough people that are doing this. There's already enough people that have started. It's already in motion. And sure, as that creepy kind of sinister, soulless woman was making it clear that you've lost. Somehow I beg to differ. I find that quite funny. Because what you did lasted somewhat of 2 hours. Let's just say 2 hours, right? And then what you did in your action is also temporary. It's not permanent. And it's not where I'm going to be in my life. And I'm not going to be embezzled from. And you're not going to be getting this so-called debt or money out of me because you're a fucking scumbag criminal company. But you succeeded on the day to switch in and change to prepay meters, okay? But what about the rest of the time? What about your quality and standard of life? What about your actions on the day and every other day that you're doing this? I won't need to say much. People are becoming more self-aware. People are also becoming more emotionally intelligent. You've only got to read the comments. Doesn't matter if there's 1 million comments or if there's fucking 10 comments. You've just got to read the comments and understand. Everyone will communicate in a different way, but we understand this is wrong. This isn't right. It is illegal. It is unlawful. You are liable for those acts. Sure, right now, everything works against us as people, so we don't get any real accountability. The system quite literally is designed in a way so no one is liable. You won't have your names. You won't give your names. Your names are protected. That there's no active director that stays there or represents the company. And you're decompartmentalized so you all only know a fucking small chunk of what you're doing. Doesn't change the fact that you'll still be liable for your actions and you'll be found out. Nuremberg. Just think about that. Nuremberg. I'm just doing my job. Wasn't a good enough excuse or a justification as to why you committed crimes. And people were prosecuted, they were arrested, they were brought to justice, whatever you want to think that is. So time will tell. But what happens now is I continue to expose and speak about what's actually going on. And I want to keep this one short. I want to keep this one sweet. If you want to find out what I'm going to do in my moves, you have to come to me privately. And you have to connect to me. And I really, really encourage that. The only people that can prevent this from happening is the people. And it will always be that way. And this is my work. And what I talk about is going to get very, 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 very repetitive. Because that's how we've all forgot about this. We've had repeating information that enables people to walk around with this information stuck up in their hard drive and commit crimes, do things illegally, have no principles, morals, compassion or empathy, and just operate. Take stuff in their body that they don't understand what it is and they just think they need to do this and they need to do that. And I've got a responsibility to save other people to take an injection of poison in my arm. There's scams all the time and people will fall for them because they don't understand themselves and they don't understand how information works. You repeat information enough, it will go in your mind. And if you're not self-aware, you'll believe, not know, you'll have beliefs and you'll think that they are your own. But they don't come from real experience. They come from information that's just being said or told. Then what you project out into reality in the earth realm is what you want to see. So what they might see is that I'm actually a criminal somehow. I've caused no harm, loss or injury and there is no victim. So how can I be? And how can I also be doing something illegal if I'm not in a legal contract? How can I be doing something illegal when what is legal is unlawful? It doesn't work. It's simple. You don't need to complicate it. We don't need to go seeking paperwork. We don't need to go seeking legislation. That's not to say they're not tools that can be used. That's not to say that. I'm saying what we do now is navigate and use the tools that are available. And how we do that is recognize we can't all do it as an individual. We need to come together and we need to learn to actually connect with each other one-to-one. These groups are great. They're pretty amazing to find people. But if you only ever stay in a group, how are you connecting intimately with someone? How are you getting private and personal to actually develop a relationship with people? Not everyone is there to, we're not going to have loads of individual relationships, but we will have some. And that some is just enough. If there's 2 or 3 people that's able to be there in these situations for each other, you'll see drastically different results. And this is the key thing. What the public see and what goes out there will start to reveal and expose the truth of what's going on, and that in itself will be a remedy, because people will be able to see firsthand what can happen and what can't happen. And when more people get together and these corporations and their methods are denied and exposed, more people are going to feel inspired to do the same thing, and they can do. More organization is going to come, and teamwork. More roles are going to be assigned. It's very short-lived what they come round and did, especially at the time, especially the way they did it. Laughing, found it funny, didn't really want to listen to fucking anything. And the police, that's so-called what your tax is paying for. Those guys. And let me tell you something. Where I do get a little bit anxious is around nervous people. Nervous people that have tasers on their belt. Nervous people that will die for what they believe in. And I believe I'm being saved. I believe I'm protecting other people. I believe. And it could lead to their death. They're dangerous and they're harmful people. To themselves and to others. So if there's anything I get a little bit uneasy about, it's that. Because in time people understand more what I do. But what I'm going to reveal is who we really are. We all know that. But we forgot about it. And we're in environments, again, where there's repetition that constantly distract us, constantly bring our vibration down, and constantly prevent us from doing the real work. We need to repeat this. We need to stay on this daily. That's not living our life, stressing out, finding new rules, new paperwork. That's all going to come in time as the experience comes towards us. But how nature's going to work is going to flush itself out. And when these parasites, as they are, continue to attempt to do what they do, well, when they do what they do, it's out in the open. The paperwork is here. Watch the video. Right now, they are making accusations. They are making accusations that me and my partner, physically assaulted some of their staff. There's a lot to learn, right? One thing you've got to learn about, because this is rife in corporations, but it's also rife in life, in any relationship, is gaslighting. Gaslighting in a summary is this. I'm feeling threatened. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling I'm harmed. I'm feeling I'm at loss. I'm feeling like what you're doing is actually stealing from me. I'm concerned that what you're doing is unlawful and illegal. I'm expressing. The gaslighting element comes in when someone makes you think that what you're saying, makes you think that you're crazy and that what you're saying isn't true and isn't real. Oh, no, it's not. It's perfectly legal what we're doing. No, we don't accept aggressive behavior from you. Oh, so it's aggressive, is it? No, we are following the rules and we have every right. We do this and we're going to ignore all the statements that you've sent us. We're going to ignore. You're crazy. You need to just do what we say. That's gaslighting on a fundamental level. And it isn't a joke. I might be smiling, I might be in good spirits because my fucking spirit is unbreakable, but not everyone is like me. A lot of people struggle. A lot of people don't understand the terminology, the words, the language, and what's actually going on, in these interactions that get people killed, to be honest. People commit suicide all the time. And it's because this sort of shit adds already on top of what we're all going through personally in life. So what do we really, really have to do here? We have to understand the change is us. There's no one else. There's not some externalized way that we can go, can we do this? It's us. It's me. I am the change. They succeeded in what they wanted to do, but they didn't really. That video is history. That video is going to go down in history for what it is. It's the change and the transition in humanity of what destroys Earth, everything that's fucking fundamentally wrong, immoral, criminal, illegal, damaging, disgusting, and you can see it in them. They are nervous. They don't want to give their names. It's just obvious. To me, in this case, is the example of I don't believe things. I know what I'm talking about. I know who the fuck I am, and I know who I'm not. And what I'm going to do is do everything I can to respond accordingly in the moment. Understand, when you bring your backup that you think is there to back you up, they're there to be impartial, and I'm talking about the police. They're there to be impartial. But when I'm stood on my own, it's just a matter of dynamics. What I have to do is set an example and a model of what this is truly about. This isn't about fucking working ourselves out and breaking down because they've enabled themselves to come in and change meters. Fuck it. Do it. Do it. And I'll get every little bit of fucking footage that I can. I'll stand there, ask you all the questions, make it clear as day, black and white, so when people watch this back in years and emotional intelligence has continued to arise, they'll see that I was on the front line. I was on the fucking forefront of what's going on here. And I am really an example of the fucking change. So are many people. But it ain't worth fuck all if it isn't captured. People need to see it. People need to be around it. It needs to be daily on this side. Repeat, 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 to flush out the repeat, the repeat, the repeat, the repeat, the repeat, coming through the news channels, coming through the fucking radio, coming through the conversations and the people's opinions that swallow up the garbage that the world presents through rules and legislations. People that don't understand who the fuck they are, that think they're companies. They think they are the document that was created fraudulently on their birth, without their say, without their consent. They have been led to believe that through the system. That's the simple breakdown of it. Believe you're this, and we'll be able to control you in this realm, and you'll be a slave, because you'll be free to do everything you want to do, essentially. But we're going to convince you that you have to go and do these things, and that you have to pay for this, and you have to work, because you've got to contribute. The trickery in there gets kind of complex, but it's simple. It's slavery. Just look at how the people are treated. Coerced, fear tactics, there's bullying, there's imitations, there's systems in place, there's teams, there's staff, there's people that are paid. That's what happens. But it changes very fast when we don't feed that anymore. We don't give it that fucking power that only has power when we give it to it. And we actually take it back. And what that truly looks like. First of all, I mean, it is subjective, but first of all, you've got to learn to act and make decisions in alignment with not what you think and what your beliefs are and what your fears are, but what your heart, getting back in touch with this thing, we have these things, It's the most powerful thing that we have. When you get back in touch with that, you'll start to go, this feels wrong, and I'm unsure what it's going to look like if I do something different. But I'm going to do anything to not go against or to not follow that route of being led by fear. I'm fearful that someone will come and do what they did to me. So I'm going to pay these corporate criminals. I'm fearful. Rather than, okay, I might be a little bit uncertain. I might have fear. I might be anxious. But nothing is worse than continuing to pay these corporate fucking criminal mafias whilst I'm slaving away doing whatever I need to do in my life that generally makes me unhappy just to pay them. It's a trap. So no matter what way you look at it, you don't escape, you don't live free. Freedom is done through action. Freedom is done through embodiment. Freedom comes when you detach from your mind that you're obligated to do any of that stuff. Freedom I have right now, and I carry that. Put me in a box, put me in a cell, put me in fucking Charlie Bronson level solitary confinement. It won't be comfortable. I'm not saying it's going to be nice. It's not saying it's the fucking option I'm going for. But I'll be free. Because I won't be fucking trapped and caged in by this physical realm. Because we're not physical, really. That's a different conversation. But once you unleash this thing, you really understand what it can do as a tool. So, let me summarize and close this video. Congratulations, E.ON. You achieved your goal. But your company, your staff, and your people, and your entire industry, actually, because you're all under the same fucking boat, you're going to get exposed, and you're going to continue to be exposed. Even if it's me single-handedly. You will have to do a lot to try and stop me. So, do as you please. But there will be responses. There will be repercussions. And the people that are watching this, find it in yourself now, today, to act. And what that looks like is exactly what it looks like to begin for you specifically. And a start could just be, send me a message. Send me a message. I'm not a be-all guru. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not making any claims here. I just know the action and behavior that leads to the change. And my job and my responsibility, and a lot of my focus actually, is develop relationships. There's one thing you won't find very easily online. There's a lot of people that are doing this in many different ways. What's different about me specifically? Well, get to know me a little bit more and you'll see a lot. I do a lot of things. But also, I am able to engage. I'm actually able to provide time for people. I'm actually I'm enabling myself through the way that I do live to provide back to community. And develop relationships is something I'm very good at. So when relationships actually develop, you got to understand the value that comes from that. When you can develop a relationship with someone new rather than someone that's old, that has a projected idea of you, you all know what that feels like. When your family think you're crazy, when your old friends think you're crazy, when the people that were in your life at some point think you're crazy and they don't really serve you anymore and they don't make you feel good. Connect with a stranger. Enable yourself the opportunity to be who the fuck you are truly in the moment. And work and develop on that and see where it goes. That's really what we can do. Things like rapid response apps, so we can, at a click of a finger, send out a signal, and whoever is local can show up, support, and act as a line of defense to stop this crime is happening. That's the only way that I see is actually that's the only way that will enable us to prevent the actions from happening. That's it. They're brain dead. They're gone. They're not there. And although what I'm doing in my video is talking a lot, I'm very aware in the video that it's not so much about the moment, it's about the video. It's about the reference. It's about the history. So, I'm talking a lot, but I'm not putting any merit into it. Not putting any weight into it. I'm not getting attached and hurt and emotionally traumatized because they're not answering me, they're not responding. I understand it inside out. I understand morons when I see them. Just look at that guy. Look at Ed. His name is Edward. He's going to be found. He will be found. And there'll be a point where people will recognize him when he's out. Because I will, over time of what I do, I will have a lot of people watching what I do. And when they see that Ed is out on the town and he's down at the fucking races and the course, he's just going to have a great time wherever he goes, because people will recognize him for the great work he does for humanity. So we'll see who wins, whatever that means. For now, stay healthy. Get good rest. Get good people behind you. Do the real work of growing in yourself and making the decisions in your life that might seem uncertain, unfamiliar, but lead you to great liberation. Reach out. Big love to everyone that's followed and supported. Honestly, this is a gift and an opportunity that I'm taking with both hands. So the more that they come, and I will continue to document, there'll be much more coming out. This is my fucking mission. We'll see. Who's looking forward to the gas and energy prices booming up again this year? See you later, people.